Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I am going through everything that I read from July through September. So this is like my third quarter wrap up of the year. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and get into it. Okay, so the first book I read in July was Jackpot Summer by Alyssa Friedland. I really enjoyed this one. I gave this one a 3.5 stars just because I did at some points find it kind of boring. I think when I did my April to June wrap up and I said I wanted to read this summer, I think I said that the father had died. It was not the father, it was the mother that had died, I think like a year prior to when this story takes place. So they were going back to their Long Island summer house to pack everything up. So they went back to their Long Island beach house they kind of grew up in. They would spend summers in over 4th of July weekend. And while they were there was this Mega Millions jackpot going on. And the three younger siblings went in and like pitched money to go in on this lottery. And their older brother did not. So it goes through like them winning the lottery and then like what happens to their relationships after that, and then how they kind of all, I don't want to say the relationships fell apart because they didn't really fall apart. They kind of like went off and did their own thing, and there were some fractures between them after, especially between the older brother and the younger three siblings. But it goes through like everything that they go through with winning and what they're doing with their winnings and all of that. And then kind of how like they all come back together to really be a family and be there for their father. So yeah, I gave it a 3.5. And then I read Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. So I gave Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez a 4.5 stars. I really enjoyed Emma and Justin's story. I liked everything that Emma went through, like with her mother, and how that affected her relationships, and how once she kind of figured out everything that was going on with her mother and where she needed to be and what she needed to do, how it kind of fixed all of that for her. Not completely, but it did fix most of it for her. So I really enjoyed that, and I really enjoyed their relationship in this. I loved them. It unfortunately didn't give me 5-star feelings. I was kind of hoping it might have, just because I've heard really good things about it. But it did land at a 4.5, which I think is still really good, especially because I'll get into it a little bit later. But I have started to notice that like romance really isn't something that I'm into anymore. It's just, I think I have a very niche set of romance that I like. That being like hockey romance and cowboy romance, or like sports romance as well. But I think romance just isn't what I like anymore, and I think I'm more into the like mystery thriller horror type of books, which you'll see more of later. But still, for it being a romance and for my taste changing, I think I did very well, and I did like it very much. I think I will pick up Say You'll Remember Me by her. I did very much enjoy her writing, so I'll still try romances out every now and then, but I'm just going to keep in mind that maybe it might not be for me, and I might not enjoy it as much as other people do. So that was Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. And the third book I read in July was The 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston. I gave this one a 4 stars. I went into it with the mindset that I might not like it that much because I read Before the Coffee Gets Cold, I think last year in 2024, and I wasn't the biggest fan of the magical realism that was in that one, so I didn't know how much I was going to like this just because there is that magical realism aspect in here. And this one was also very close to giving me 5-star feelings. The only thing that like I had a problem with in this one it's not really a problem. It's just that I wish that there was more of her going back in time 7 years to like the previous apartment than there was. I feel like there were only like 3 or 4 like big like sections or scenes where she was going back into the apartment 7 years prior and meeting Iwan. I think that's how you say his name. Ewan, who she ends up meeting 7 years later, but I don't want to say exactly who he is because it might spoil some things. But meeting him 7 years in the past, there were only like 3 or 4 big major like chapters or scenes where they were there, and I just wish there were more because I found myself not really caring for the present timeline unless they were talking to each other and seeing each other in the present timeline. I felt myself caring more about the past timeline. So, but I did end up giving this one a 4 stars, so I did really enjoy it still. I just wished that I had more in the past timeline than what there was. And then moving on to August, I do also have a couple of extra books for each month, one extra book for each month, just because I'm in a book club. But I'll talk about the book club books after I get through what I read, aside from those ones during the month of August. So starting off in August now, I have the Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires by Grady Hendrix. I gave this a 4.5 stars. Again, very close to giving it 5. I just did not get the 5-star feeling. And honestly, thinking about it now, I might bump it to a 4.75. But as of now, as I have it on my Fable and in my reading journal, it's a 4.5. I very much enjoyed this. I was on the edge of my seat the entire time I was reading it. I read Salem's Lot last October and absolutely loved it. They're both about vampires, and I thought it was very interesting. There were parallels between how the lore of vampires is in this and how the lore of vampires is in Salem's Lot. I very much enjoyed this one, though. I thought it was very well written, and I did like a lot of the lore that he gave about vampires, and he put a twist on vampires that I was not expecting, but it was very, very good, and I absolutely was having the time of my life while reading this. I could not put it down. I just kept wanting to read it, wanting to pick it up. So yeah, I gave this one a 4.5. I'll probably bump it to a 4.75 now that I'm thinking about it, but this was very good. And I think if you've never read him before, this book is a good place to start. I've also read the Final Girl support group by him. I think I read it last fall also. That one was good as well, but it was not as grasping. It was a bit boring at times. So I think if you're going to start anywhere with him, I think this is the one that you should start with. And this was actually perfect for August. I was going to read it in like October, but then I saw someone else pick it up. I think Jolie Reads. I saw her pick it up in August, and she had also said that she was waiting for the fall, but that she's glad that she picked it up in August because it's more of like a summer vibe type of book, and I do agree with that. So I think this one was perfect for August. And then I read Friends, Lovers, and the Big Terrible Thing by Matthew Perry in August. I don't give memoirs ratings. I just don't think it's fair for me to rate a memoir. Just because like I feel like I can't put a rating on somebody's life. So I just don't rate them. So there's no rating on this, but I did enjoy this. I did like seeing his point of view on things and everything that he went through and all that kind of stuff. So I did enjoy this one. And then I was going to read The Fine Print by Lauren Asher in August, and I started it. I think I got to page, I have a dog-eared. I got to page 36, and I was just, the entire time I was reading it, even within the first 10 pages, I was kind of just like, oh, I don't really want to be reading this. I was like, not really. No, don't want to do it. Don't want to read it. Don't want to pick it up. So I did DNF it. I gave it a soft DNF originally. And then as I was reading the rest of the books that I read in August and even started like my September books, I was like, yeah, I don't think I'm coming back to it. Because like I said earlier, I think when I was talking about Just for the Summer or the 7-Year Slip, I just don't think I'm really that into romance anymore. I think I'm more of a mystery thriller, horror, dark academia, sci-fi kind of reader. Even like literary fiction doesn't hold my interest as much as I think it should. So I did DNF this, and I think I'm just gonna hard DNF it. I don't think I'm going to pick it back up. I just wasn't vibing with it, just wasn't for me. So there's that one. And then because I decided I wasn't going to read the fine print, I ended up picking up The Mist by Stephen King, which is like one of his short story novellas. I believe there's also like a movie about it on Netflix, maybe a show somewhere about it. But I did end up enjoying this. For a novella, I gave it a 4 stars. I was on the edge of my seat the entire time. I was so interested in the aliens or the creatures that were in this. It was very cool. I will say very graphic at moments in this, but I loved it. I was here for it. So yeah, I gave that one a 4 stars. And then the last one I read in August was The Surgeon by Leslie Wolfe, and I think I'm going to give this one a 3.75. I think I'm going to give it a 4 stars. This one I did enjoy. I really liked the concept of what was going on, what was happening, the mystery that was in it that we were trying to solve. I did find myself, so there's 2 characters in here. There was the surgeon, who the story is about, and then her husband's mistress was the second point of view. And I absolutely hated the point of view of the mistress. I did not like her. I found myself like skipping through her stuff or like skimming through it. But her point of view still was interesting, seeing her motivation for what she was doing and everything that she was dealing with on the side. So I did still enjoy it, even though I hated her, which I think the point of it was to hate the mistress, because of what she was doing and how she was coming after the wife and everyone in her life, how she was. So I honestly did not see the plot twist coming at the end at all, so I really did enjoy this. I gave this one a 4 stars as well. Okay, and then moving on to September, I actually only ended up reading 2 books off of my TBR, 3 if you're counting the book club book. So I only ended up reading 2 off my TBR. I wanted to read 3. The third one I wanted to read was Main Characters, but I just didn't have enough time to get to it with my classes starting up and school starting back up for me. So I only ended up being able to read 2, and I actually used the audiobook for all of my books in the month of September, just because I can get through books quicker with audiobooks than like me reading it on my own. So the first one that I have is The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, which I just recently read in my realistic read with me. So you'll see that before you'll see this one. But I read it in that one, so I gave this one a 3.5 stars, which I think I mentioned in the video. I did like it. Again, I just kind of felt it was boring at times, although I did like the aspect that Taylor Jenkins Reid threw in, which I can't really talk about because it ruins the whole point of the book, and it kind of just, as it says, The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, it just goes through her life and how she met her 7 husbands and how they like lived together, what happened with them, all of that. So it goes through that. And then the last one I read in September was Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. So I, as I said in the realistic reading vlog, I was nervous about picking this one up just because I know it's like a fantasy dark academia, and fantasy isn't usually something that I go for. But this one was very good. I did like it. I think it's more dark academia than it is fantasy, but I did very much enjoy this. I gave this a 4 stars. Like I said, for other books that I've given 4 stars, I was very tempted to give it 5 stars, but I just didn't get that feeling. I was very much on the edge of my seat with this. I just wanted to keep reading it, wanted to keep going. And I think it's solidified me picking up Hellbent, which is the second book to this series. I think it's going to be a series because I think there's supposed to be a 3rd book coming out. But yeah, so I picked this up Read it, absolutely loved it, gave it 4 stars. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and get into my book club books now. So moving on into my book club reads for July through September. The first book that I ended up reading with my book club, we started in July. So I have I Who Have Never Known Man by Jacqueline Harpman. I gave this one a 3 stars. It was good. I liked the dystopian aspect of it. It wasn't really like my favorite thing, but I did enjoy it. I did like it. I liked seeing how they went from being imprisoned in this like prison underground to going out and discovering the world as it is and what's happening out there and how they survived out there and all of that. So I did give that one a 3. And then August, I was supposed to read One Golden Summer by Carly Fortune. And I did start it. I got most of the way through it. I got to chapter 38 of like 52, I think. Okay, 53 in the epilogue. But I did end up not getting all the way through it, so I don't have a rating for this one quite yet. I am going to finish it though. I have the audiobook on my Spotify. It just got into September and I wanted to pick up our September book club read before finishing this out. But I am going to go in and finish it hopefully within the next few days. And then I think right now though, I think I'm sitting at maybe like a 3.5 on it. Again, romance I just don't think is for me, and this like literary fiction is like what's really for me anymore. So yeah, but I am enjoying it. I am liking it. So I think this is going to get a 3.5 from me. And then the last book we read for book club for September was Yellow Face by R.F. Kuang. I gave this a 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. I did not want to put it down. I was listening to it. I took a whole day to listen to it. And I just did not want to stop listening to it. Couldn't put it down, just wanted to keep going. So I'm giving it a 4 stars. I did like the aspects of, what's going on in the publishing world with racism and all of that. So I did enjoy it. I gave it a 4 stars. And then I said in my last wrap-up video in my where I also went through like the books I want to get through this summer, I said that I wanted to reread The Summer I Turned Pretty, which I did. I got to page 194 of like 220 something, 276 pages. So I still have about a little less than 100 pages left in this. I just didn't get a chance to finish it because I was reading it when I was like going to the pool and sitting at the pool, but I kind of fell off with going to the pool towards the end of the summer, so I didn't get to finish this one quite yet. I will finish it before the end of the year just because I want to finish it out because it is one of those ones that I wanted to reread and one of those series I wanted to reread. And then that way I can also get to other ones that I want to reread. But I think, as of now, I think I'm going to sit at it at a 4. I'm enjoying it. I'm really loving it. I forgot how much I liked The Summer I Turned Pretty. Well, not really because I've been watching the show, but I forgot how much I enjoyed the books, and I think it's actually better that I'm reading them now because the first time a lot of the books that I'm rereading the first time I went through and read them, it was over 10 years ago, and I was a newer reader, so I was kind of like confused on like past timelines, present timelines, switching between them, all of that kind of thing, and flipping between point of views and so I think it's good that I'm going back and reading them now that I have an understanding of how point of views work and how past and present timelines work, that sort of thing. So yeah, I'm really excited to finish this and continue rereading this and a few other books that I have on my TBR. So those are all of the books that I read between July and September. I read 13 total, 11 completed. 2 of them I started but didn't finish, but I'm going to count them as 13 just because I will be finishing them. So yeah, those were the books that I read between July and September. So I'm also going to go ahead and go through all of the books that I want to get to during the rest of the fall season and the beginning of the winter season this year. So starting off, I have The Only One Left by Riley Sager, which is actually my book club's pick as well. So I'm very excited to get to this one. I do know that this one is about Lenora Hope and her like caregiver nurse, Kit McDeer, not McCree, McDeer. And I know Lenora Hope's family had died in a very tragic way one night, and it kind of left the town with questions about, oh, did maybe Lenora do it, or is there something else going on? So Lenora decides to tell Kit the story about what happened, and as they're going through that, Kit starts to discover some things, and maybe that Lenora isn't telling her everything, and that maybe there's more to Lenora than what meets the eye. So I'm excited to get to this one. And this one's by Riley Sager. So then the next book that I want to get to in October is going to be Dearest by Jacqueline Walters. This one is about a new mother, and she is kind of like at her wit's end with having a newborn, and her mother ends up showing up one day to kind of like help her out, whatever. But I guess there's like a twist that maybe her mother isn't really her mother anymore. So yeah, I'm very excited to get into this one. I'm not a fan of the cover, but it looks interesting, sounds interesting. And then I have for October My Dark Romeo by Parker S. Huntington and L.J. Shen. I'm not really sure what this one is about. I do know it is a dark romance, so I'm a little bit weary that I might not like it, but I'm going to give it a shot. I did try another dark romance. It was Promises and Pomegranates back at the end of last year, and I wasn't a fan of it. So I'm going to go ahead and give dark romance another shot, but it might just simply not be for me, which is okay. For November, I have First Lie Wins by Ashley Elston. This one, it's kind of vague about what it's about, but it seems like it's about this girl who had something happen to her in her past, and she basically like had to get a new identity, kind of do this witness protection thing with this other, and she's placed with this other guy who she doesn't think is quite who he says he is, and so she's trying to figure out how she can maintain this life and a future for herself without letting her past slip out. So I have that one. And then I have The Secret History by Donna Tartt. So I was actually supposed to read this one in September. However, I flipped it with Ninth House because I ended up getting the audiobook for Ninth House before getting the audiobook for The Secret History. So I'm going to go ahead and read this one in November as well. And I also don't know what this one is about. I just know that it is dark academia, which I do enjoy. So I'll be reading that one. And then I have Middle of the Night by Riley Sager. And this one is about a man dealing with the disappearance of his childhood best friend. So I'm very excited to get into that one. And then I have, for December, I have Carrie Soto is Back by Taylor Jenkins Reid. And this one is about a tennis player who has retired, and then somebody beats her record, and so she decides to come back and try and get the record back from the person. And it's about her and like what she goes through and her struggles. So I'm excited for that. And then I have Rock, Paper, Scissors by Alice Feeney. This one I have heard is very good. I haven't heard much about what it's about, or if I have, I just can't quite remember. But I heard that this one is supposed to be very good, and it looks like it'll be a good one for winter just because it looks like it's set in winter. So I'm excited for that one. And then I have Scythe by Neil Schusterman. This is like one of the only YAs that I've read this year, that I'll be reading this year. But this one is about basically they're like reapers, and they go in and they glean people, I think is what they call it. So it's about that and like what they do, and their training and everything like that. So the last book that I want to get to is going to be 1984 by George Orwell. It doesn't like really give a description of what the book is about. It just says on the back, Winston Smith toes the party line, rewriting history to satisfy the demands of the Ministry of Truth. With each lie, he writes, Winston grows to hate the party that seeks power for its own sake and persecutes those who dare to commit thought crimes. But as he starts to think for himself, Winston can't escape the fact that Big Brother is always watching. So I'm very excited to read this. I know a lot of people who read it when they were in high school. I was never one of those people, but this one has piqued my interest, so I'm excited to get to this one. And then there are a couple of other ones that maybe I'll pick up if one of those books don't work out. So I have Soul Searching by Lila Sage, and I'll put up a picture here of it. So I have that one that I want to read. I still have to go get it. And then, which that's just like a small town cowboy romance one with like ghosts involved. So I figured that would be kind of good for maybe this month, October, to read that. And then also maybe Hellbent by Leigh Bardugo, so the second one to Ninth House. I'll be getting, I don't know if I'll read it, but if I want to swap out a book, I'll probably pick that one up as well. And then that's about it. I don't think I really have any other ones that I want to get to before the end of the year besides the ones that I showed you guys. So I hope you enjoyed today's video, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.